Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and an Avengers Doomsday casting update seems to be forthcoming, with some debate among reliable entertainment journalism outlets over whether Ryan Reynolds will or will not be returning as Deadpool in the film, and a whirlwind of other rumors and reports as to the potential dozens of additional names beyond the 27 cast members announced back on March 26th. Now that Fantastic Four First Steps has come and gone, and Spider-Man Brand New Day is well into production, and more details are starting to come out about Avengers Doomsday, we really need to catch up on everything else we know about Doomsday and who else will join this cast. So I'm gonna break down everything we know in this video. Hey, a reminder that a great way to support New Rockstars is to check out our merch store, nerdriot.shop, where we have some awesome Fantastic Four inspired designs and other really cool stuff that will make great gift options as the holidays approach. Okay, just to catch you all up, the original March 26th set share cast announcement for Avengers Doomsday included the following names: Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Invisible Woman, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson, Captain America, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier, Letitia Wright as Shuri, Black Panther, Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant-Man, Wyatt Russell as John Walker, U.S. Agent, Tenoch Huerta as Namor, Eben Moss Backrack as Ben Grimm, The Thing, Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy, Beast, Louis Pullman as Bob Reynolds, Sentry, Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, Human Torch, David Harbour as Alexei Shostakov, Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ava Star, Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier, Professor X, Ian McKellen as Eric Lyncher, Magneto, Alan Cumming as Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romaine as Raven Darkholm, Mystique, James Marsden as Scott Summers, Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Remy LeBeau, Gambit, Pedro Pascal as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, and Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom, Dr. Doom. Now that we have seen Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four First Steps, and the post-credit scenes to those films that are both scenes that the Russo brothers shot for Doomsday, we have a somewhat clearer picture of this movie. We know that some version of the Excelsior spacecraft with 4 fins, probably 4 years into the future from the Fantastic Four post-credit scene, is gonna make its way to Earth. We also know from the Thunderbolts post-credit scene that there was already some space anomaly before they even knew that the ship entered the atmosphere, suggesting that that thing might have been a rift to another dimension in the orbit of Earth. We know that Dr. Doom is now meeting young Franklin Richards, and he has removed his mask to show his face to the kid, and the kid is reaching up to his face. And I've made a number of videos on what is going on there. We also know that the Avengers/Thunderbolts are in a legal dispute with the Avengers team led by Sam Wilson. We know more of Avengers Doomsday will be set in the 828 universe than we initially realized. Vanessa Kirby and Eben Moss Backrack said that the Baxter Building seating area was designed to be way too big for just 4 people for a reason. And Eben said he was shocked when he saw all the major Marvel actors who were sitting across from him on that set. And that potentially also implies something about the geography of Avengers Doomsday. Like, we could be looking at 3 worlds that are in the process of an incursion with each other. Like, imagine a triple circle Venn diagram where you can look up at the sky on one horizon and see a rift, just like the rift we saw in the sky in Spider-Man No Way Home. And on the other side of that rift, you would see an aerial view of the 828 universe looking down at you. Like, the top of the Baxter Building is pointed down at you. And then if you were in 616 and turned your head to look at the other horizon, maybe you would see another rift in the sky that leads to the aerial view of the X-Mansion in Universe 10005 with a giant dead sentinel on the lawn looking down at you from there. Like an upside down world over here and an upside down world over there. That way, any character who can fly on their own power or using a flying vehicle could just fly up through those rifts back and forth throughout the movie. It wouldn't be a whole thing to have to travel to a whole other universe. All 3 universes could just be one merged battlefield that way. Also, we know that Vanessa Kirby has recently said that she has researched quantum physics to understand how her atoms could vibrate into invisibility, and she's researched metaphysics of people who have undergone near-death experiences to try to better explore what would happen when people come back from death and, quote, how they're different. And she implied that this would come into play in Avengers Doomsday. What the hell does this mean, I wonder? Are we going to learn that Sue Storm saw Aubrey Plaza as death on the other side of wherever she went? Are we going to learn that some detached souls briefly see the void? Did Sue witness eternity or some physical manifestation of the power cosmic? Are we all, on the moment of our deaths, transferred back to the beginning of all existence, the Big Bang, when Galactus hatched into this world? And in that process, maybe Sue could have unlocked something in the universe's overall lifespan. Also, Scooper, My Time to Shine, hello, claimed to Scoop that Doomsday will begin with Dr. Doom upset about Steve Rogers choosing to stay in the past at the end of Avengers Endgame, and that choice will have caused the first incursion. In today's episode of Rumor Rundown, Gina and I connected some dots courtesy of John Costa that the coded set construction photo calling building a house, Luke Cage's house for Doomsday, could have been a code, which is based on My Time to Shine Hello Hiya's other claim, that Luke Cage could be code for Steve Rogers. And in Rumor Rundown, we talk about how the Doomsday opening scene could start at Steve and Peggy's house when they were slow dancing to It's Been a Long, Long Time at the end of Avengers Endgame in the year 1948 of that universe. And Doom could show up and break up that dance. Or maybe just like blow up the house. Like for a while now, we have been trying to figure out what the Russos and screenwriter Stephen McFeely's big idea was to return to even make a fifth Avengers movie that they woke up in a cold sweat and called each other about in the early morning hours. And since Stephen McFeely and the Russos have always disagreed about the time travel logic of Steve Rogers' decision at the end of Endgame, that disagreement could have become this kind of meta narrative choice for how that choice broke the reality of the MCU. That could have been the big idea. Also a reminder that in the weeks before Avengers 5 was officially titled Doomsday in the summer of 2024, Hollywood Trades reported that as many as 60 returning MCU actors could appear in these films. So that means after the 27 that were announced in March, as many as 33 more could even be announced. Probably even more than that, since the March 26th announcement included Fox X-Men castings of people who had never appeared in an MCU movie before. I think we can do better, folks. I think we can get up to 60 more on top of that 27. A total of 87. Got it. Okay, here's everything that has been reported. Chris Evans' Steve Rogers. According to The Wrap in December 2024, Chris Evans was not included in the March 26th set share announcement, and the reporting has varied as to whether he'll be Steve Rogers or a variant or just a different character, but we feel pretty good that he will be in the next announcement. And it is possible that Luke Cage was codenamed for Steve Rogers. If our theory about the opening scene is true, that would also explain why our next person was also reported that same month. Haley Atwell, Peggy Carter. That was reported in Deadline in December 2024, and they mentioned a set photo that I never saw, but Atwell was also left off of the set share announcement in March, but reports of her involvement in this movie preceded that. Next, Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange. He is confirmed to be in this movie. He initially denied it at Sundance in January, but he later reversed course to say that he would be in the movie. Technically, Cumberbatch was the first cast member reported for the fifth Avengers movie back when it was still called Kang Dynasty, excluding, of course, Jonathan Majors, who would have been the title character of that. Doctor Strange is still in the Dark Dimension with Clea, and if the Thunderbolts post-credit scene, which is set 14 months later, is a scene in Avengers Doomsday, and if Strange still hasn't come back by then, it would mean that he's been around in the Dark Dimension for over 3 years. What is he even doing? And does Wong miss him? Next, Mabel Cadena Namora, Namor's female lieutenant, was seen in cast photos for Avengers Doomsday taken when the production moved to Bahrain earlier this year. Also confirmed, Alex Livanali Atuma, the male lieutenant of Namor's forces from Black Panther Wakanda Forever, was also in these cast photos from Bahrain, so he will also be in Avengers Doomsday. Next, Ryan Reynolds, Wade Wilson, Deadpool. This was reported last Friday by the Hollywood Reporter's Heat Vision newsletter by Aaron Couch and Boris Kitt, which is a pretty reliable source that usually only runs with things like this when their legit studio source confirms it to them. I assume they asked in response to Ryan Reynolds' Instagram post of the Anarchy Avengers symbol, but it's also been reported that that Anarchy Avengers symbol was fan art and Ryan Reynolds was just curious about it. Deadline and other outlets have refuted the Hollywood Reporter's reporting, claiming that Ryan Reynolds will not be in Doomsday, or at least that has not been confirmed by anyone yet. I will say that the follow-up reporting feels like the studio backpedaling to me, so I think it's very possible that Ryan Reynolds is in this movie. Hey, fun fact, just me mentioning the name Ryan Reynolds in this video will have alerted a whole bunch of bots out there funded by Justin Baldoni's legal and publicity team to talk shit about Ryan Reynolds in the comments of this video. So I encourage you, have some fun playing with those bots, but don't be too mean. They will be our overlords in 14 months. Next, Matthew Wood, Herbie. If the Fantastic Four post-credit scene was indeed a scene for Avengers Doomsday, and Herbie has speaking lines in that scene, it means voice actor Matthew Wood is also confirmed for the Doomsday cast. Similarly, 5-year-old Franklin Richards actor. You know what's crazy? We still, 3 weeks after Fantastic Four came out, do not know the name of the young actor who plays the 4 or 5-year-old Franklin Richards in that Fantastic Four post-credit scene, and therefore probably also in Avengers Doomsday. Ada Scott is credited as playing the baby version of Franklin Richards in the movie, but there is no credit for the 5-year-old with the blonde hair in the post-credit scene. The credits of this movie weirdly credit Alan Silvestri's score from that scene, a track called Doom, but not the young actor who has 2 speaking lines in the scene. And that's a big deal, because they're gonna have to get some kind of performance out of him for Doomsday as they're developing this relationship between him and Dr. Doom. If you've ever tried building and shipping software without a solid workflow, you know how fast things can spiral. Between managing backlogs, aligning across teams and agents, and keeping sprint goals on track, the overhead alone can slow you down. Unless you're using Monday Dev, Monday.com's dev platform. Here at New Rockstars, we've relied on Monday.com for years to manage our content production, but Monday Dev raises the game for development teams. It's a dedicated platform built for engineers, project managers, and cross-functional teams. Monday Dev helps you streamline your dev process with with customizable sprint boards, backlogs, and roadmap views. You can leverage AI to manage agents and teams, summarize tasks, auto-generate updates, and even assists with sprint planning with no admin dependencies. Track progress and velocity in real time with built-in analytics and connect every stakeholder from engineering to product to QA with a shared source of truth that scales as you grow. No more chasing updates across Slack threads or digging through your docs to find blockers. Monday Dev gives you visibility, flexibility, and structure all in one place. So if you're tired of old and rigid software management tools and need to spend more time building, visit monday.com/dev to get started. Big thanks to Monday Dev for sponsoring today's video. Next, Xochitl Gomez, America Chavez. Gomez dropped an interesting hint at the Nobody 2 red carpet recently.
There are so many incredible stars attached to that film, yourself included. Who are you most excited to hopefully share a scene with?
Oh, wow. Well, I hope to share, not to say anything. This is just like speculation, just vibes. I mean, I worked with her once and I would love to work with her again. She was a dream. I would love to work with Elizabeth Olsen again. That was just my favorite experience ever.
I mean,
Based on this, many of us are now expecting America Chavez will be back for Doomsday, which opens us up to other returning characters from the Multiverse of Madness corner of the MCU. Like, I know the multiverse saga has felt like a bit of a mess, but I think by the time Doomsday come out, we will be able to draw a pretty straight line from Loki through Multiverse of Madness, through the Marvels, to Deadpool and Wolverine, to Fantastic Four First Steps, to Doomsday. So now let's move on to some big MCU names many of us were expecting to see in the March 26th announcement, but were mysteriously omitted. Maybe because they were women, also maybe because they were about to start shooting stuff with the earlier round of actors and it would just be too hard to hide all of these actors from social media postings, but the other actors who were left off would just be shooting scenes much later. On May 1st, scoopers like Jeff Snyder listed a whole bunch of Marvel names that they said comprised the rest of the cast, but we don't know if that's for sure, but you'll see a lot of the names in the ones I'm about to go through. There was also a rumor that Marvel would make a second announcement on August 27th, but some Reddit users on the Marvel Studios spoilers subreddit sleuthed out that rumor really came from another scooper snooping around on a Discord server and got caught in a lie, and other scooper accounts just ran with that lie to get that March 27th date out, which led to some people believing this August 27th date. So to be clear, there is literally zero evidence that Marvel will be announcing anything about Doomsday on August 27th, but maybe they will. It'd be fun if they did. Whenever that second announcement does come, here are some other names we are expecting to see. Tom Holland, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Obviously, Spider-Man Brand New Day is the focus right now, but when Holland was reported for being cast in Christopher Nolan's Odyssey film, some Hollywood trades assumed his 2026 release slate would also include Avengers Doomsday, as they're assuming, but we're assuming, that Marvel's ongoing deal with Sony means that after an MCU Spider-Man movie would be a contracted appearance in a Marvel Studios team-up film like Avengers 5. Next, Mark Ruffalo, Bruce Banner, the Hulk. Maybe they didn't want to spoil Ruffalo's involvement in Brand New Day, but now that we know, there's really no reason to leave him off of the next Doomsday cast announcement. Next, Brie Larson, Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Tiona Paris, Monica Rambeau, Photon, Iman Vellani, Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel, and Lashana Lynch, Maria Rambeau, Binary. I think we're all still a bit surprised that these women were not included in the March 26th announcement, considering the list was so short on women and their involvement in the Marvels seemed pretty crucial to Doomsday given the rifts in reality and Monica and Maria currently with Beast in the alternate universe. Like if Kelsey Grammer was listed on the March 26th announcement, why not either of the two women who were in that scene with him? Or the other two who would probably be involved in their rescue? I think it just means that these actresses' scenes were not on the schedule yet. Next, Mother Elizabeth Olsen, Wanda Maximoff. Lizzie was on an initial Production Weekly cast listing in December that blew many of our minds, but the actress has also maintained she's dead and done. I don't agree. I refuse to agree. I will never agree. On the sneak peek, I pitched what I actually thought was a pretty fun way you could bring her back in Doomsday as Magneto's daughter in Universe 100005. Next, Hugh Jackman Wolverine and Daphne Keane X-23. If Ryan Reynolds is in Avengers Doomsday, his Anarchy Avengers team has gotta include these two. Deadpool and Wolverine are kind of a package deal now. Next, Don Cheadle, James Rhodes, and Jeremy Renner, Clint Barton. Two old-timers who would make sense to see in the Doomsday cast, though both are OG Avengers names with recent sightings in Phase 4 and 5 on Disney Plus series, but would probably cost a lot to include in the cast since they've had so many MCU appearances. Next, Denai Guerrero Okoye, Tessa Thompson Valkyrie, Catherine Newton, Cassie Lang Stature, and Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop. For more female MCU cast members who are active on Earth in the present era, who have appeared in movies, all doing pretty important things if you ask me, like if Paul Rudd Scott Lang is in Doomsday, why not his daughter Cassie? Like, I understand Hank and Janet might be older and definitely more expensive actors, but Newton would totally be available. If the second post-credit scene of the Marvels showed Kamala Khan meeting Kate Bishop, and if Kamala ends up in the film, I feel like Kate Bishop's gotta be there too. Next grouping, Kiyoe Kwan, OB, Wunmi Mosaku, B-15, Sophia DiMartino, Sylvie Lofty-Daughter, Owen Wilson, Mobius, and Matthew McFadden, Mr. Paradox. We also know it's confirmed that Doomsday will at least be set partly at the TVA. Like if Tom Hiddleston is confirmed for the cast, and we saw Chris Hemsworth, stunt person, recording BTS phone footage on the TVA set. So it stands to reason at least someone else from the TVA will appear to help explain the multiverse logic of this movie. Next, Benedict Wong as Wong and Charlize Theron as Clea. If Doctor Strange is in this movie and he remains the central figure racing to outthink Doctor Doom in a time runs out style plotline, then the other sorcerers in Doctor Strange's orbit are also probably going to appear, just to explain where Doctor Strange has been since Multiverse of Madness. All right, big group I'm going to list here. Paul Bettany, Vision, Tatiana Maslany, Jennifer Walters, She-Hulk, Oscar Isaac, Moon Knight, Dominique Thorne, Riri Williams, Ironheart, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, Simon Williams, Wonder Man, Catherine Hahn, Agatha Harkness, Aubrey Plaza, Death, Charlie Cox, Matthew Murdock, Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio, Wilson Fisk, Kingpin, John Bernthal, Frank Castle, Punisher. These are more Phase 4 and Phase 5 Disney Plus streaming series characters that I think all have at least a 50% chance appearing in Doomsday. Like She-Hulk appeared in some concept art, but I worry that Moon Knight might have had a bigger role in the Kang Dynasty version of Avengers 5 than the Doomsday version. Meanwhile, Matt Shackman gave me the exclusive scoop that Agatha Harkness could one day appear as Franklin Richards' nanny. Since John Bernthal will appear in Brand New Day, it's going to be a major big screen performance in the same year as Doomsday. That could be a signal that Marvel wants to develop the guy as a big screen character in other movies. Next, another group here: Paul Walter Hauser, Harvey Elder Mole Man, Ralph Ineson Galactus, Julia Garner, Shalabal Silver Surfer. Again, we might be able to look at Avengers Doomsday as partly a sequel to Fantastic Four First Steps, and depending on how much of the movie we spend in the 828 universe and how long it takes Galactus and Silver Surfer to get back from the corner of that universe that Reed sent them to, or if they were just sent to another universe, they are definitely cool and popular enough characters that would be really fun to see Dr. Doom have to deal with in some way. Another grouping: Halle Berry, Aurora Monroe Storm, Famke Janssen as Jean Grey, and Anna Paquin as Rogue. Three more women from the Fox X-Men era that seem to be just as likely to return as Rebecca Romijn or Alan Cumming were, but if they were not announced on March 26th, it would mean that their scenes would just have to have been scheduled separately from the rest of the X-Men scenes. Then the Guardians: Chris Pratt, Peter Quill, Star-Lord, Zoe Saldana, Gamora, Dave Bautista, Drax, Bradley Cooper, Rocket, Karen Gillan, Nebula, Vin Diesel, Groot, Will Poulter, Adam Warlock, Sean Gunn, Kraglin, Kai Zen, Phi Lavelle, Maria Bakalova, Cosmo. We can't forget the Guardians of the Galaxy, which did have that new lineup at the end of Volume 3 in the post-credit scene. Also, the tag of that movie promised that the legendary Star-Lord would return. But if you include some of these guys, I feel like you gotta include all of them, and there's a lot of VFX that go into a lot of them, so it would be a budgetary concern. The last grouping: Josh Brolin, Thanos, James Spader, Ultron, and Sacha Baron Cohen, Mephisto. In order to establish Dr. Doom as a threat, I kind of feel like we gotta see how he matches up against past villains. There is an iconic moment between Doom and Thanos that we just know will be recreated in one of these movies. And also, Doom hates Mephisto. In most versions of the comics, it's Mephisto who's keeping and torturing Dr. Doom's mother in hell. I mean, if they ever meet, that's gonna come up. So there you go. That's like 87 total cast members for Avengers Doomsday. Probably not gonna be that many, but I'm pretty sure you can find your own path to 60 pretty easily. So comment down below with your 60. And a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Far North and Northwest QLD Emergency Services, who supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at EA Voss and subscribe to all the channels in the New Rockstars Network for breakdowns, news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.